Hey, what's up you beautiful feckers? How you all doing? So Devstream 110 was last night, and as usual in it we got a wee glimpse into items that are in development that we will get in game at some point in the near future. We got another look at the work in progress civilian hub for the new Venus open world tileset that we'll get at some stage as well, which brings a new civilization to it that isn't Corpus or Ostron, so I'm sure it's going to have plenty of lore attached to it as well. But we did get our first look at the walking animation of one of these NPCs from this Venus open world hub as it waded through the coolant, and it looked pretty cool. It kind of looked really weird. It looked like some kind of a robot with handles on its belly, so I can't wait to see what these actually look like when they're fully ready. Now Rebecca was walking through the Venus hub with her Khora. We've seen another glimpse of what looks like the weapons kiosk that a lot of the community reckons might be maybe primary or secondary Zor type weapons. So this whole player hub is underground, and there is a massive freight elevator that you ride to go up and down into the hub, and the whole area has a very futuristic vibe to it, very Altered Carbon or Blade Runner-esque. So I can't wait to see exactly what it's like when it's fully rendered and all of the NPCs and loads of players bombed in there as well. It should be a lot of fun to look at. Now your guess is as good as mine as to when we might get our hands on this Venus open world area. Hopefully, fingers crossed, hopefully sometime this year. Now at the end of the dev stream we got a really quick look at a poster art for the upcoming sacrifice quest Umbra, and on it there are numbers and of course tenor writing as well that has led to a lot of speculation within the Warframe community, but of course it is just speculation and guesswork. Half-Life 3 is one of these guesses, but a lot of speculation is aimed towards the possible idea that maybe Umbra is not a new Warframe at all, but in fact a modified Excalibur, and that this will open the door to us being able to further customize the stats of our existing Warframe. It is a really nice idea, and I think Steve mentioned it on previous Periscope streams or his own Twitch streams, the idea of alchemy within the Warframe universe, like maybe being able to increase the armor at the cost of speed on your Warframe, or increase the health or energy at the cost of maybe sacrificing your shield or something along those lines. Maybe even making use of the infested chair and that helminth infection that Steve mentioned as well in past in relation to that alchemy. So again, it's all guesswork, and what will be will be. We won't know until we actually get our hands on that quest. But it does sound like the quest is still a good bit away. Now, will endless missions in Warframe ever get scaling rewards? It's a question that the community has been asking in relation to endless missions for a very long time. Will the AABC rotations ever get changed as well? It's a hot topic. Scott mentioned maybe adding more to those rotations, like adding a D rotation or an E rotation, while also maybe removing weaker rewards from those later rotations. They are not a fan of the idea that players would need to stay in for an hour at a time for scaling rewards in order to get a reward, and prefer the current bite-sized mission type that you can run in between class or when you're on your lunch and so on. So you're basically not being held hostage and having to run an hour-long mission in order to get what you want. But Steve did also mention that he's not a fan of the idea of players jumping in for a full rotation of AABC, then jumping out and then jumping back in again and repeating until you get what you want. So maybe removing weaker drops at later rotations would give a much better chance at the loot that you want and allow players to do longer missions if they chose to. So your second rotation of that AABC might have no credit bundles or no 400 endo rewards, which would increase your chances at getting the prime parts or relics that you're after. Now they've also spoken about focus and how it's still a huge time sink. No surprise there, and it is something that they're trying to explore and to allow us, the players, to explore without having a lock on it as well, but they still need to figure a few things out and make it maybe less of an actual time issue. But until then, they have increased the daily focus cap for all players by 5,000 per mastery rank, so you can earn a lot more focus per day. Now, in relation to peculiar mods, which is kind of like Marmite right now, players love them or players hate them, I mentioned in a previous video how it would be really cool to have a big head mode just for shits and giggles, and an upcoming peculiar mod that they showed on the dev stream will enlarge enemy parts as you shoot them just for a brief second, and then of course they will return to the normal size. But it is an early work in progress peculiar mod, and right now on the Devstream you couldn't enlarge certain body parts like their arse, like their crotch and so on. So it looks like a bit of fun. Now Steve also mentioned that these peculiars are going to stay as mods just for the idea that if you want to have fun, you don't run with them on your powerful builds or your most powerful builds. It's just when you want to have, I guess, a bit of downtime, a bit of a laugh, and then you can switch your build around. Now the Corpus weirdos on rollerblades are getting new visuals to their attacks in order to help you get out of the way of their nullifier zones as they expand out, because previously these were invisible, you couldn't see their attacks, your abilities would just be switched off and that was it, you were dead. Whereas now you're going to see that nullifier zone expanding out and be able to get out of the way of it before you can actually shoot them in the head to turn off that nullifier zone. So it is a really nice change, and it might make these a little bit less of a pain in the arse. Now, Framefighter doesn't have a release date yet, hoping to be able to play it at TennoCon. That's all we have on Framefighter. So that's pretty much the main topics from last night's Devstream, but of course we've seen plenty of other little bits and pieces, like the Equinox Alt helmet. We've seen its night looks, its day looks, and of course how it looks infused as well, and it looks pretty damn cool. We've seen the new visuals on the ceramic dagger because it's getting a complete visual overhaul. And of course we've seen another look at the early work in progress new UI for Warframe, with frame and weapon images I think only being placeholders, so they're going to look a lot different once the UI I guess evolves and are getting closer to actually finishing it. But if you want to watch the full Devstream, it is linked in this video's description. Do me a huge favour, hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, or don't if you didn't. Subscribe for more Warframe, and as always, thanks very much for watching.